So to start with, growing up, tell us about you before cricket. Just tell us a bit about Bash and what we need to know about you to know where you got to today.
About me growing up. So growing up, I was a chubby kid, like short, chubby kid. Probably in high school, that's when I shot up. Like started growing, started getting muscle. Started when I started playing sports. Actually, that's when I just shot up. I was short and chubby my whole like childhood. Yeah, cricket. How cricket came about. So I come from a baseball background. Like my whole family plays baseball. Dad, brothers, sister, softball. So that's my background. That's my family played that. And when I wanted to start playing baseball, it died out where I'm from in Port Elizabeth. And the next best thing for me was cricket, of course. Yeah, played in primary school, started club cricket in primary school. That's what you call it, year five thing, or year grade seven, standard five. We used to call it standard five. Things has changed now. That's grades now and stuff. So played club cricket. Played as a polyfiller, meaning someone to just fill the team up on the weekend. Then I became a batter, opening batter. Um, yeah, how I became a fast bowler is actually an interesting story. It was so I played for this Muslim team, right? And now we never used to train during Ramadan. And there was one specific day we trained in Ramadan, and of course in Ramadan you're hungry because you're thirsty and like you're fasting. And I just took a ball and I ran in, just ran in and ball quick. And that's basically how I became a fast bowler. I never looked back since then. And I just started bowling quick. And yeah, that's how I became a fast bowler. Then I played a couple of years for my club. It was Victorians, it's called Victorians. Then the transition into professional cricket happened so quickly for me. Like, that's so, yeah, it happened very quickly. I'll never forget. So there's a franchise here, Titans, massive franchise in South Africa. I was playing for old grade, no, for varsity, playing one season for varsity. Then I got a trial run at Titans. I'll never forget the Wednesday morning, flew me up to Pretoria, trained with Titans. I'm standing at the net, I'm looking at Morne Moko, Dale Steyn, Etienne Balati, like massive name, Martin van Jaarsveld, big names going on. I'm like, what on earth is going on here? Anyway, have a net with him, bowl. After training, Richard Pybus was the coach then, comes to me and he says, come to my office. We'll go to his office. He gives me a contract. I'm like, what? What's going on here? He's like, no, we want you to play fast. Here's a 2-year contract. And I'm like, because it's the first time something like this has happened to me. And because I never heard of group stages. I've never ever done like, like you get your, like by you guys, you get the Hampshire and the 13s and the 15s and the, like, those groups. I've never done any of those. Like I've never heard of it. So things happened very quickly for me. Um, and yeah, then I told him, of course, I can't sign this year. I need to go home and discuss with my family, of course. Came home, discussed with my family, then Warriors, the home team I went from, found out that I got signed there and they come to offer it, of course. And it was the worst 3 weeks of my life because now when I would go to Eastern Province practice, the coach is like, oh no, we've done so much for you. You need to stay here. I'm coming home. My family is like, but we're going to learn the most. They'll stay in Moni and Moko. I mean, you've got experience there. You can Andre now them. I mean, you can learn from those guys. So it was the worst 3 weeks ever. It was back and forth. And at the end of the day, I decided to go. Yeah, and I played for Titans 2 years. Then after 2 years, even though they offered me another 2-year contract, the coach, Pete Botha, actually phoned me, who was with Warriors at the time, and he said, listen, Bash, you need to come home now. And I thought to myself, listen, I mean, you want to do well for your home team. Like, I've got the
Yeah.
exposure. I'm grateful. I've got the exposure. It was great, unbelievable, amazing experience. I mean, but it's something playing for your home team. It's just the feeling. It's just so much better.
Yeah. How
Yeah.
old how old were you when you turned pro and well you had that training session or trial? How old were you?
I'm not playing now. How long am I playing now? Well, I'm giving my age away now. Um,
A long
I
time.
think I was 21, 20, 21, 21, yeah.
So
Yeah.
so somebody saw something in you, and you hadn't gone through, especially like in the UK, the county setup or professional setup as a young age. So what did they say? Whether they saw in you? Was there anything in particular they said? Actually, this is why you're here.
No, I mean, I was just told about raw pace and like I've got a lot of energy behind the ball and stuff, and it's just that's how can I say, that's like diamond, that's rare. And they just kept on to that, and they wanted that with him. So yeah.
So you were naturally just fast. Were you aggressive as a bowler?
With the ball, yes. Not as a person. Not as not as a person. I've never been. I'm not a believer of. I mean, everybody talks about fast bowlers. They have to be nasty. I just I'm a firm believer of let the ball do the talk. Talking, and that's me. No, I've never been. I've been. Yeah, I was quick. I was quick in my days. Yeah, I remember I'll never forget my debut one day game. It was against Lions, and I bounced Dane Villas, cracked his helmet. He was playing for Helmers, for Lions. I'll never forget that. That was special in a way. That fastball feeling on the inside, like, yeah, okay, I accomplished something. I cracked the helmet.
Did you get him out next ball?
Could I get him out? No, I nicked him off. I took 3 wickets in that game. It was my debut. Yeah, I nicked him off.
Nice. So do you think if this, if that had gone differently, you hadn't got wickets, you hadn't done that to Dane, do you think could have gone differently? Did that propel your confidence, or have you always had that confidence?
No, I was no. As a youngster, all you want to do is just play, man, and you just want to perform, and you're eager to perform, and you're anxious, and you just want to do well. You forget about what you have to do sometimes. Like you forget about the basics. You just want to run in and bowl quick. Don't care about where you bowl. You just run in and bowl quick. I've never been as. That's why it's called experience, because you learn from the stuff that you've been through. No, I've never been this confident, or how can I say, the mindset that I have today. Of course, I never had that back then. I just wanted to basically try and land the ball in a good area and bowl fast at the same time. Like any youngster, like when you come on the spot and you just want to bowl quick. You wanna how can I say, put the footprint down. You wanna make a difference. You wanna get your name out there.
And on that, you got 365 first class wickets, well over 150, list day 155. You say you didn't have the confidence growing up, and you run in and bowl fast. I mean, I know a lot of people that are running and bowl fast, but they haven't got the success that you've had. So, in those early days, can you remember what was your mindset? How did you overcome challenges, fear? You say you didn't have confidence, but you kept going and you kept performing. So, can you remember what your mindset was back then and what kept you going?
I think I was lucky working with, like when I started playing at Titans, working with the likes of a guy called Etienne Balati, which was, oh man, he was the most underrated bowler in the country. I mean, underrated in saying that he's supposed to play for South Africa, for a long time. Like, he's been the best bowler in the country, like consistently, year in, year out, but he still couldn't crack the nut playing for South Africa. And when it comes to skill-wise and learning from him, I was really lucky that I got to work with someone like him. And then, of course, coming back home, working with a guy called Pete Porter, who is, I think, the best technical coach in the country. I've been working even up till today. I'm still in contact with him, just talking, because he probably knows my action better than me, because that's how long I've been working with him. I've been lucky that I've had the right people in my career at the right time that I could work with.
Yeah, that's good. And for those that might be listening that don't have that network around them, is there any advice that you can give them around how they can start generating or getting mentors, or what would you do if the situation was a bit different?
you see in today's time, like even a youngster kid today that's got like 4 or 5 different coaches, which is so bad. Because the one coach is telling you one thing, and then the other coach is telling you a different thing. Because all the coaches have their way of or their philosophy of coaching or whatever. Um, I'm a firm believer of basics. If you can do the basics well for a long period of time, things are going to happen. I'm like when I try to simplify things as much as possible, especially when it comes to bowling. I try to simplify. I try to hit top of off all the time. I try to make the batsman play as much as possible because batters get mentally tired as well. They have to switch on and switch off every time. So if you making them play every ball, they switching on, switching off, and they're getting mentally tired. And somehow you're hoping that the false shot can come through. I would say in today's time, like it's try to find that one person. And and here's the thing: the difference in today's time and back then is that a coach wasn't just a coach back then. A coach was a mentor, a father figure, someone that helped you outside cricket as well. Whereas in today's time, you don't really have. There's not a lot of those people out there, if you know what I mean. And that's something that I really I strive for when it comes to me sharing my knowledge with the youngster. It's not just about the game. It's me talking to him about what's happening outside as well, because it goes hand in hand. I'm a firm believer of first becoming a good human being before you become a good cricketer. It works hand in hand. So in today's time, it's different because, like I said, a kid has like 4 different coaches at a time. A kid has a batting coach, a bowling coach, someone a catch, whatever. That's ridiculous. It's just finding that one person that you can relate to on a personal level.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would take you further.
Yeah, no, you mentioned there around you've kept it consistent, and do you feel that, especially with the way the game's going at the moment, the variety of different games people are playing, there is the chance to, well, of course, bowlers are changing things up. They're trying to try new things, but do you feel that that could be a hindrance to people that are trying to make it pro or finding their way? Do you feel, you mentioned there that you kept it simple, you had your plan? Do you feel that consistency has stood you in the best stead possible to achieve what you've achieved?
100%. I definitely think so. Because again, I always talk about in today's time, the modern cricket, I call it. It's like guys want to come in, on a bowler on a bowl, 2 away shapers and then one in shape. Like they don't know how to set the batsman up anymore. Bowlers don't know how to set up a batsman anymore. That skill has gone. Like old school cricket where bowlers used to bowl 3 overs, just bowling away, and then maybe 3.4 over, come back in LBW bowl. That's no better feeling as a bowler when you set the batsman up and you can get him out. But the game has changed so much. The game has got so much faster, so much quicker.
Yeah.
Even Test cricket. I don't call it Test cricket. I call it 5 one-day games because basically that's where it's going to. You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah.
It's not like
good.
Test cricket anymore. But yeah, it's
That's good.
yeah, I try to simplify. Like I say again, I try to simplify things as much as possible because bowlers they think too much at times. I mean, batters as well, but bowlers when you're standing in a run up, there's sometimes where bowlers think they have an idea of what you want to do at the top of a run up. While running in, he's changing his mind about oh no, or he sees the batsman does a funny thing and then he wants to change his mind. The thing is, if you want to be consistent, you have to your mind has to be consistent as well. You have to. That's why I've got this small thing that I picked up from Morne Mokareko actually in his run up. So at the end of his run up, he has like a circle thing where he walks around and then he starts to run in and bowl. I actually got a combination of these bowlers, so Morne Moko and Etienne Balati. Those 2 guys. Morne Moko with the circle that I do at the top of my run up, and Etienne Balati, that jump thing that I have. That was he used to do that. So that's where I got that from. It's getting into rhythm and then bowling. And in that, while I'm walking in that circle of mine, that's where I make up my mind. Okay, this is what I'm gonna do now. This ball, this is the ball that I'm gonna bowl now. And then my eyes are focused. I'm zoning in, and I try to execute. That's it. Because
So
sometimes your mind can drift.
yeah, sounds like you've got a routine that's repeatable.
Yeah, yeah.
And how do you are you like that in your personal life? I know that you are. We've trained together before, and you always want to share your knowledge and your particular routines. But when you're training before a match, after a match, do you have any particular routines that are for you must haves that you do every time? And they may come naturally now, but is there anything that you've had to work on in the past that is now a must have in all of your routines?
Yeah, I mean, like any batter or bowler, that you've got your things that you work on. Like with me with bowling, when it comes to bowling, I've got 4 things that I know. If those things are working, my action is going to be in sync. So I know if my front arm is going up and it's going towards a target, my head is going to follow. Then I'm going to follow through. If those things, and if I have that split second delay on my back leg when landing, and then I'm going to be strong at the crease. So those things are things that I do the day before the game. It won't be over a long run up, maybe be a short run up, but those things that I try to just go over, because if those things are in sync, then everything will click. Um, that's a day. That's my game prep the day before the game, and those things, like I said, every or hopefully it is like that. But every bowler or batter usually have something, 1 or 2 things or 3 things that works for them. Um, that when that happens, everything clicks just in sync.
I've seen a few people discuss the importance of net sessions, especially from a batter's perspective. And that, I mean, I open the batting myself, and trying to work on and not be reckless in the nets can be difficult. So, what do you do in your training? How do you prep? And do you have routines in training that helps you as you come to before the match and then during the match?
Yeah, again, when it comes to training, I try to keep things as simple as possible. I want to hit top of off. I want to make the best play because I train the way I want to play. That's how
Yep.
I train. So I want to hit top of off all the time. I want to try and get the consistency in the nets because you play the way you train. That's a true thing.
Yeah.
Like that's what I try to do in the nets. I just try to be consistent in my lens. Because I mean, I have a goal every season. My goal is to be consistent, which is very difficult. But it's every season. It's the goal. It's one goal that I've got. That's consistent.
How do you
Try to
measure
be
that?
consistent in that. We
Do you
can
just is
actually
it the
now.
feeling?
Funny enough.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, definitely. Bowling is about feeling, but I mean, to measure, there is actually a way to measure. We've got a video analyst, and
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
that's one way. That's one way to measure it. I mean, if you've got someone that, but I mean, it's a feeling definitely because if you feel good, bowling is about feeling. When it feels good, no matter how you look, if it's feeling good, that's what you go for. That's 8 out of 10 times, 9 out of 10 times, you're going to be hitting a good length if it's feeling good. Um, and yeah, I try for when I speak to young bowlers or any bowler, I always say try to bowl for that feeling. Like if you've probably had that feeling once or twice before. Like for me, yeah, it's probably more often for me now because I've been bowling for a long time. But I always tell bowlers it's about finding that don't bowl for the action or for the length, bowl for the feeling. Because if you bowl for that feeling, if you try to get that feeling, then things will click automatically.
No, that's good. So technical. So in terms of mindset, and a lot of people are quite visual. They'll like manifest and a lot of visualization. So for example, before I go out to bat, I try to visualize how I'm going to play a certain bowler. From a bowling perspective, or even fielding or batting, do you visualize? Is that important to you? Is there anything mentally that it sounds like to me that you try and just keep things super simple? But I'm just trying to
Yeah,
digest and see, in your mind, because you do succeed. Like, what is it? What
yeah,
are those things that keep you going and are successful from a mindset point of view?
yeah. I think for me personally, like I, I've done visualization before, and it's not really my cup of tea, to be honest. Like
Why?
I don't know. Like I've tried it. but it's just I want to do it. Like I don't want to think about it. I want to do it. Like I've got this
Mm.
thing. I think I spoke to you already about it, about the reflect and forget method. Um, that's when I probably, you could say, look back at. So the reflect and forget method is when after every game, I look back at the game. I look at my bowling or my batting. I reflect on the things. I take out the positives and I forget about it immediately. Because once you keep onto things that's not going to help you, you're never going to move forward.
Mm.
So when it comes to visualization, yeah, I've tried. Like again, I said I've tried it, but for me, it's just about assessing conditions as quickly as possible. When I'm bowling,
Yeah.
assessing what's the right length to bowl to hit top of off, because you get different wickets. If you come over there to England, I'm gonna have to bowl a bit fuller. If you come in South Africa, you get to bowl a bit shorter to hit top of off or to get a good length. Um, yeah, it's just assessing as quick as possible.
Uh,
That's probably what I try to do. Yeah.
that's good. And you've gone through your career. There's bound to be setbacks, challenges, difficult times as you've grown from a young lad through to where you are now. And is there anything in particular, any mantras or any particular techniques that you use on a day to day that keeps you going, keeps that fire in your belly, that helps you get through tough times? Is there any advice or anything that you can give to people that may be going through something difficult now that has helped you?
Yeah, I think that and this sport, this game has made me mentally strong. Like it forced me to become mentally strong because of, I mean, and I always tell youngsters as well. This game can be horrible. Like, and you have to once you can understand and once you can accept the fact that you're going to fail more than what you're going to succeed. If you can accept that, a lot of things can change. Like things can change for you because I see even yesterday, like I said, I had a net with the team here. Even yesterday, I was a better batting, and it's like ah, this I'm like you hit the middle, but it's just he's falling over, and like I'm like mate, like you're doing the basics well. I mean, I understand that you're falling over, but you hit the middle of a bat. Like take a win there, take a but yeah, I've um what did I say? Sorry, I'll just skip to the next thing.
No, yeah, no. You were just it was just around, getting through tough times. You said that you
Oh
just
yeah,
want
yeah, yeah,
to.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've had two major injuries in my career. Luckily, I mean for a fast bowler, that's a little to be honest. Touch wood. Oh gosh, that's a lot of wood. And like my first major injury was stress fracture on both sides of my back. That was actually not the worst, to be honest. I think the worst was when I tore a hip muscle in my run up. So I was running in my run up and it just popped and just tore. I think that was the worst. Like the next morning, I was in so much pain. I was in agony. It was, but looking after your body, and I've been really lucky. I mean, I've been playing now for 16, 17 seasons. And for a fast bowler to have so little injuries, but I've always been a firm believer of looking after your body. The more you play, the more you get to know your body better. You know what works for you, and I don't take it for granted. I mean, I've been very blessed to be able to play for such a long time, and it's just looking after the body at the end of the day, and yeah,
What's the
it's
most
been
important
good.
thing as a fast bowler to look after your body? What works for you?
The older I'm getting, rest.
Yeah. Well, you do a
Rest
lot.
is
I've seen you
important.
do a lot of stretching. You do a lot of
Yeah,
stretching.
yeah,
Like before we had that net session, when we did the YouTube
yeah,
video.
yeah,
I remember you turned up. You were with the ground was in the middle of nowhere. You turned up, and I was like, "Right, I'm ready. Let's go." And you're like, "Mate, I've got to warm up." Like, so I think that's really important to share because
yeah,
I know a lot of people. There's and George is, George in our team. He's a
yeah,
quick
yeah,
bowler,
yeah,
and he'll turn up and he's like, "Just get on with it. Let's go."
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
you wouldn't. You warmed up every time.
Yeah, no, for sure, definitely.
Discipline.
I mean, stretching before, and people don't understand stretching after is even more important.
Yeah.
The warm down, the cool down stretch is even more important than the warm up stretch.
Yeah.
And that's definitely something that has kept me going for a long time, was being able to stretch. It's funny because the team that I'm with now, our fitness trainer don't believe in stretching, and I was like, I've been
Oh,
doing it for years. I'm going to continue doing, continue stretching. It's been working for me. So yeah, stretching is vital. Looking after your body, strengthening at the right parts of your body. Like bowlers don't need biceps, honestly. Like you don't need biceps. That's just a look good thing. You need bowlers need basically strong back, core, shoulders, hips, strong legs. That's what you need. That's where your main source comes from. This area, the bottom here, the hips, the groins, the glutes, the major muscles. That's where everything kicks in, because your glute leads to your back, to your groin, to your hip flexors, to those are the important things.
yeah, no, that's good. You mentioned batting, and I would like to hear from an opening bowler, extremely accurate, fast opening bowler. What puts you off as a batter? How can someone score runs, rotate the strike quickly without being reckless? What are the typical signs that you see that puts you off as a bowler that and people score runs against you? Is there a certain pattern of whether it's mindset, whether it's technique, attitude? Yeah, what do you see time and time again that works for batters against you?
Yeah, so for me personally, like there's not a lot really that gets me upset, to be honest. But I mean, for me personally, as the drop in run, like 2 point, if that happens often, I can't take it. Absolutely, I I can't take that. It's yeah, pisses me off. I'm sorry, but yeah. But rotating strike, if batters rotate strike against me, I don't like that. Because I want to be bowling to one batter at a time, trying to set the batsman up. So when they're rotating strike, and that puts me off a bit. But I still try to do the basics. So I still try to hit length is length. At the end of the day. So yeah, but that's one thing that
and
yeah.
that's good. And what those batters? I mean, you bowled against the best batters in the world. What do they do differently to other batters that you see in training, in match, in prep? Is there a couple of things that you can share that you see that they do differently that could help others? The best in the world.
Bowlers.
Batters that you bowled against are the best in the world. Where you've batted against, you bowled against Jack Callis in training. What do they do differently to other people? Yeah. Why are they the best?
Oh, there's different things, man. Like I'll never forget the one net with Jack Callis, bowling to Jack Callis, and he just came in and he just worked on his defense the whole session, like just defense the whole time, just defense, and then later on after the net, he had someone throwing to him, and then he worked on trying to rotate, trying to go, but all he done is just worked in his defense the whole time. That for me was like, and it was asked, someone asked him, like, why do you do that? So it's like, if your defense is strong, from there, that's your base. Your defense is your base. From there, you can move along.
You can join if you want. So right, so let's talk the future for you, for Bash. What does that look like? Where, I mean, you're still succeeding, you're still bowling quick, you've got legs left in you, of course. But what does the next 5 to 10 years look like for you? What do you want here? What's your North Star?
Jeez. For me, personally, so the thing is, I want to play for as long as I can, to be honest. I want to play as long as I'm, and I get this question a lot. Funny enough, people ask me like, so when are you going to retire? When you going to call it and stuff? And my answer is simple: the day I stop enjoying playing cricket, that's the day I'm going to retire. Like the day I play or I wake up and I'm like, no, this is not for me anymore. And that's the day I'm going to say like, no, call it quits, because I'm not going to. That means I'm keeping someone's spot out of the team. I'm going to be, and that's the worst thing I want to. I don't want to be like one of those grumpy old men that towards the end of retirement, I don't want to be one of those. And I won't be one of those. Definitely, I won't be one of those. But I'm gonna play for as long as I can, to be honest. As long as the body can still going, I'm still loving it. I'm still enjoying waking up sore. Funny enough,
That's good.
like it's very rare as a bowler to wake up and you're feeling 100%. Like you'll get it once or maybe twice a season. That will happen. So and that's usually when I'm the scaredest of all when that happens, because both my injuries happened on days where I felt like that, where I felt unbelievable, and then the injury happened on that day. So that's when I feel the most scared, like when I wake up feeling fresh.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. And after cricket, if you had thoughts
Definitely, I'm
about what you'd
definitely going
like
to
to do,
coaching. I've got, yeah,
yeah,
definitely going to coaching. If not, like bowling coach, but definitely coaching. Like I said, I enjoy sharing my knowledge about the game, about my
yeah,
lessons that I've learned in life, and about just about talking about the game. I enjoy that, so I'll definitely go into coaching, 100%.
no, that's good. I've got one more question, and I want to get it right, but I've written it down
All right.
over here. So I do listen to a lot of podcasts and videos and stuff, and there's one question that I look forward to. It might be High Performance or Stephen Bartlett, but it's if you had one day left on Earth, there are two questions. What would you say has been your greatest achievement to this date? And then the second one is, what is the one piece of advice you'd give your 16-year-old self? So the first one is, if this was your last day on Earth, what's been your greatest achievement?
What's been my greatest? Wow.
Sorry, I didn't prep you for this.
Yeah, this is tough. I think, would you call it an achievement? The day I became a dad, first day, like
Yeah.
yeah. So like that
Your
changed my
greatest
life.
day, greatest achievement? Yeah.
Yeah, that changed my life. Like the first time, like when you have your first child, you become a father, a parent. It's like you sit there with the child and you're like, oh my god, I made you. Like
Yeah.
that's and everything I do in my life is going to be for you. Like from now on, like everything I do is going to be for you. So yeah, probably that. And the advice I would probably give my 16-year-old self is compete with the person in the mirror. Don't compete with anybody. Compete with the person in the mirror. Because once you can start competing with yourself, you would become a better person every day, and you would grow so much quicker instead of competing with people.
Bash, I love it. Mate, thanks for sharing all your wisdom and advice. I really appreciate it.
Always,